If you've been uncomfortable sleeping in a hammock in the backcountry, or you haven't tried hammock camping because you've heard that it can be uncomfortable, then stick around because this video is for you. If your hammock looks anything like this, the way this one's hanging here, pretty horizontal, or the suspension is pulling straight out from the tree, that's a problem. Or if you're sleeping like a banana, that's also another problem that's impacting your sleep. I'm gonna go over some fixes in this video that will have you sleeping like a baby in no time. Let's go. One of the biggest mistakes I see that makes people not be able to sleep comfortably in a hammock is this right here. This hammock right here is almost horizontal. It's stretched completely out. It's super tight, and this is just a really bad situation for a number of reasons. The very first reason I would say is that it's putting a ton of stress on the hammock itself. This fabric could eventually stretch and could eventually tear. The stitching could give way. Tons and tons of force is being put on those straps because they're just being pulled straight out from the tree as well. They're rated at a certain amount of force and a certain amount of weight, and that's dependent upon, you can calculate this out, but it's dependent upon the angle of the straps. If they're pulling straight out from the tree, that's really gonna cause early failure. So something you definitely wanna watch to be safe so you don't fall, they don't break in the middle of the night, and so that you can sleep better in a hammock. One of the other reasons this is a bad deal is because it really restricts the movement of this hammock. So as you can see here, I'm stretching this thing, trying to widen it as far as I can, and that's about all I've got, is maybe 2.5 feet max. This is a 2-person hammock right here, and honestly, you should be able to get 2 people in it. However, I'd be really uncomfortable just myself in this hammock right here with laying in this the way that it is, because my feet would have to be at one end and my head would have to be at the other end, and then I would be like a banana. And that's the other thing that really causes problems when you're sleeping in a hammock. You want to be able to sleep diagonally in a hammock. You don't want to sleep like a banana. You don't want to sleep with, straight from end to end. You do want to sleep at a diagonal. One thing that will really help you dial in the perfect hang in your hammock so you can sleep better in the backcountry is to get a ridge line. This ridge line here connects to both ends of my hammock, of this hammock, and it will restrict how far the hammock itself can stretch. That does a couple of things. It reduces the stress on the hammock itself. It will also keep a little bit of sag in the hammock. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this ridgeline up and show you the difference that this ridgeline makes. I haven't touched the straps, actually. I just reconnected this ridgeline on this hammock, and it's automatically giving me this set sag in my hammock. Now the straps need to be adjusted because this is obviously really low to the ground, and it's not the best hang right now. I'll get into that in just a little bit. But this here, you can see that it's already, as far as I can stretch, it's already allowing me to widen this thing heck of a lot more than I could before when it was pulled really tight. I could get 2 people in here, but most of all, it's gonna allow me to sleep diagonal in this. And therefore, it's gonna reduce that banana lay. As I mentioned, the straps, adjusting the straps is really key to being able to get a good lay as well. So I'm gonna get in this hammock and see how well just putting a ridge line on here does. This is already a heck of a lot more comfortable than if I was to lay like this. I'm laying kind of like a banana, like this. But when I lay diagonal, it's way more comfortable, and I'm able to enjoy this a heck of a lot more. Now, this ridgeline is not super tight even when you get in it. This ridgeline is made out of Amsteel. So the nice thing about that is it's really strong, and you can use it for, if you're needing to get out of the hammock, use it to climb out and be able to hold on to it if you need to put your shoes on or whatever, and just have a little something else to brace yourself with or whatever. So that's not going to break. But yeah, so a ridge line, first thing, really simple. You can get a ridge line from like Hammock Gear or Dutch Wear Gear, other places sell them, but those are the two places I've purchased a lot of stuff from. And yeah, or you can make your own. I made this one here and it's been really pretty good. It's not failed me. It's adjustable, and that way I can dial in my own preferences on this. I can make it, you know, tighter, I can make it looser, and that's been really nice to be able to dial in this hammock and be able to get the right lay for me. When you're looking for a hammock suspension system, just know that there are a lot of different systems out there and they all serve a purpose. There are pros and cons to all of them. And I have, over the years, I've used 3 different systems, probably more than that, but I have 3 here. These are the most recent systems that I've used. This one's pretty common. This is pretty much the strap that comes with every single hammock that you buy just off of Amazon or whatever. It's a daisy chain system, and you hook the carabiner here or here. The problem with this one is it is heavier because it's doubled up. And then also you can't make micro adjustments with this one very easily. You're kind of limited to these however long these loops are. So like, if, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches here, and I'm limited to go like 6 inches or another 6 inches and another 6 inches. That's the most adjustability I can do as far as like doing incremental adjustments with these daisy chain straps. There are other systems you can use, like just a spider strap like this. This is from Dutch Wear Gear. This is what I use currently with this beetle buckle right here. And this has been awesome because it's got one, I love because I can just hook my continuous loop on the end of the hammock to this and adjust it, and I can make micro adjustments on this all day long with this strap, and then it just pulls and cinches down right there. So this beetle buckle's been really nice. And then also I can use a pole in between this hole right here. I have a pole that I can use for the head end of the hammock, and it will separate us, so I can have one of my kids sleeping right next to me, or my wife or whatever in a hammock next to me. So that's nice. This can also be used with a system like this, like a whoopee sling, and these are pretty lightweight, but you do have to have some sort of strap around the tree to use a whoopee sling. You could use a whoopee sling with this daisy chain strap, but I would these are, like I said, fairly heavy compared to like a spider poly or a strap like this that you can use like a marlin spike hitch in to hook the whoopee sling to. And I'll show you some of those different things here in a little bit. But the adjustability on these whoopee slings is nice because you just pull it and then it locks down in this little thing called a berry right here. And it's just kind of like a boa constrictor. Basically, it pulls and then you bleed the berry, or you milk it, I should say is what it's called. Milk the berry, and then it's gonna stop it from extending. So that's really nice. And then you can pull it from the other end and shorten it or lengthen it or shorten it or whatever. So really nice to be able to have those micro adjustments with these whoopee slings as well. So let's put these into action. So I'm just running this strap around the tree here. It's got a loop at the end, and I'm gonna feed it through and run the rest of the strap through. Now with these, you do not want to have it be pulling on the loop. You always want to have the end of this running end of the strap pulling through the loop, so it's not putting a bunch of tension on that loop or the strap. And then you want to have this thing set to be about as kind of a starting point, I would say. You probably want to have like this strap be about eye level or a little higher maybe. It really depends on how wide the trees are. So this one I've put a little bit above eye level, and I'll adjust it if I need to and go from there. But right now I'm putting it there just because I've had experience, and it's probably going to be okay at that level with how high I want my hammock to be off the ground. So we're going to go ahead, and I've got the strap running through the loop on the side of the tree that it's not pulling on the actual loop itself. And so I've moved it over, and let's get going with that. And then I'm going to move my beetle buckle up because I know I've got a lot less distance between these two trees where I am, so I've just slid my beetle buckle up. So this right here is the current setup that I'm using with my hammock, and it is the beetle buckle from Dutchware Gear with the spider poly strap, I believe is what it's called, from Dutchware Gear as well. And then the continuous loop from the hammock just connects around this little hook here on both sides. You can see that there. And then the continuous loop just hooks around and holds that. And then I do, when I'm using this, I'll use just a slippery half hitch just to have an extra backup in case it slips through here. It doesn't usually, but it can, so I usually put a slippery half hitch in just to prevent it from slipping and to hold it in place. The other suspension system that I've used is the whoopee sling with a strap of some sort. And then you do need a toggle, so I'll just grab like a stick from the ground here. Just any stick like this will work just fine. And I carry these little tiny titanium toggles with me that have a string at the end that I can just pull them out of the marlin spike hitch. So basically you create a marlin spike hitch by just creating a loop around your fingers like this, and then grabbing the line above. So you've created this type of thing, which is, this is the marlin spike, and then your toggle goes through this loop. And I did a video on these knots where I explain these, and I'll put a link at the end of this video where you can click and go and see those knots if you want to. But this is the marlin spike hitch right here. So now you've got this toggle, and then you would hang the whoopee sling, the one end of the whoopee sling, on it. And you don't want to hang it on the toggle because that can put a lot of stress on the toggle itself. You want to hang it on the knot. So right here, this part, on the knot and not on the toggle. That's an easy way to remember that. So you're going to do that, and that will hold it, and then the whoopee sling would attach to the continuous loop on your hammock. So those are the systems I've used over the years with hammocks, and I've gotten really used to them. The whoopee sling option, as I just showed, and the beetle buckle are my favorites. Beetle buckle is my absolute favorite because I can use it with the spreader bar going through this little hole and be able to have a hammock next to me. And I love the simplicity of it. I don't have to use a toggle. I don't have to carry around an extra item. I just know it's all on one thing, and I just put it around the tree, hook my hammock to it, adjust it, and I'm done. So whatever works for you, whatever's easiest for you. There are some weight savings with different suspension systems. There are ease of use with different suspension systems, but either way you go, you want one that is going to be micro adjustable, just so you can dial in that perfect hang. Again, you don't want this pulling straight out from the tree. You want this to be at about a 30-degree angle, and a good rule of thumb is just kind of an estimated gauge that everybody has already with them is the distance or the angle between the tip of your thumb and the tip of your pointer finger. So if you put your hand like this, kind of like a gun, and you go like this, if it's pretty close to that, the angle of this strap, if it's right now, I'm right there. So that's perfect as far as the hang that I have going here. It's as close to, that 30-degree angle that I'm gonna get without actually having a gauge or something. They do sell these little things you can take with you. I just feel like it's extra weight, and I feel like this is a pretty dang good gauge for guessing, kind of just guesstimating, I guess, that 30-degree angle of your strap that's coming off the tree. So that's a key for hanging your hammock, is just using your gauge that you already have built in and see if your hang is approximately 30 degrees. Now that I've got my hammock hung, I want to test it. I've got my ridgeline on, I've got my straps hung at each end coming off the tree at about that 30-degree angle again, and I want to make sure that I don't have calf ridge. Basically, when you're laying diagonal in a hammock, it will get kind of tight on one end, one side, the side that your feet aren't on, and it oftentimes will rub right along your calf, and that'll keep you awake at night. And that's what I think a lot of people experience as well. Even if they've got all this other stuff dialed in, I think that they do forget this step, and that's to test the hammock before you go to bed at night. You get it hung and you want to lay in it. You want to make sure that you're not getting calf ridge, that you can lay pretty flat, and that you're not going to have any issues. If you are, then you want to get out and adjust it. Sometimes you need to move the straps up, sometimes you need to loosen them, whatever the situation is. But that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's kick back. All right. I feel like I'm laying pretty flat right now. And if I wanted to, I could lay on my side in this hammock and be totally comfortable. I am a side sleeper, so this would work really well for me as well. Back sleepers. I had one person tell me that they haven't tried hammock camping because they are a back sleeper and not sure if they could make it work in a hammock. Now, if I was to sleep straight on and not be doing the side thing, then no, I'm not flat. I'm kind of more like a banana. My knees are not, they're kind of bending down. My head's up, my feet are up. And this, I wouldn't be comfortable all night long like this. Maybe for a little bit, but I think for the most part, you're gonna be kind of uncomfortable at some point in the middle of the night. So this is not the way you wanna sleep. Now you can sleep head right, feet left, whatever your preference is. I do have a little bit of a calf ridge right here. I don't know if you can see how this is pulling a little tighter right here. This calf ridge would probably bug me a little bit during the night, so I do want to adjust that and see if I can just adjust the hammock a little bit to fix that. So I'm going to get out of the hammock and do some adjustments. Normally when that's happening, I have either I need to let some length out of the straps. I need to lengthen the straps basically. And so I'm going to try that. I'm going to lower my head end of the hammock because I like my head end to be a little bit lower, and I think right now it's a little bit higher actually. And so I'm going to lower that end and just see how well that works. All right, I'm back, and you don't need to adjust it very much. It's just little increments, those micro increments. And that's why I said that those daisy chain straps are probably not the best if you're trying to get a really nice diagonal flat lay, because you can't make those really small micro adjustments. So definitely look into some different straps if you're using those daisy chain straps, or if you're looking at hammock camping and that's what your hammock comes with, swap those out. Get something like a system that I'm using. It's really simple, or whatever system works for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and, I felt like it was slipping, but it's not. I'm gonna go ahead and lay back in this and give it another test. I feel like I can adjust my ridge line just a hair because it's pretty loose right now. Let's test it. All right, I feel like I've got a pretty good lay right now. I can maybe do a few little other adjustments to it, but I think it's pretty close, and I'd be able to get a really good night's sleep. The key to hammock camping and having a really comfortable good night's sleep in a hammock is doing these steps, making sure that you have a ridge line, making sure that you're not hanging the hammock just perpendicular, parallel to the ground, just horizontal. Making sure that your straps are such that they can have some micro adjustments made to them, because if you're not able to make those micro adjustments, that's going to make or break it, because you can only move it 6-8 inches at a time. I was moving this like an inch and a half maybe at a time, and so that really helps to be able to do those micro adjustments. The other thing I would say is just taking the time, being patient with dialing it in. try different things, you know, try the beetle buckle versus the whoopee slings versus the, you know, different other types of straps and tarps and other stuff. Definitely want to get a bug net so you're not eaten alive if you have bugs out at that time of year. If it's winter time, not a big deal. Or if you don't have bugs in your area, that would be awesome. You're blessed. But yeah, just some quick tips for dialing in that system so you can have a really good night's sleep in the backcountry while sleeping in a hammock. If you haven't tried hammock camping, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear if you haven't tried it, or if you've tried hammock camping and you haven't enjoyed it, and maybe what the reason is. If you've got some tips, if you are an experienced hammock camper and you love it, what are your thoughts on it? What tips do you have for the viewers and for other people in the community who want to try hammock camping while they're backpacking? Anyways, I hope you learned something. I hope this has helped you to be able to dial in your system and be able to have a better night's sleep when you're hammock camping. I'll catch you on the next one.